Spend a moment just focused on Acuity Scheduling. That is the scheduling program that the Nice Guys on Business podcast uses, which is our podcast, and this is the one that we make recommendations to. Feel free to use any other scheduling program that you like. We just find that Acuity has a lot of really great features that will allow us to sync with our current calendar, to communicate directly with our interview subjects for our show, and to automatically do the reminders and the follow-up as well. So after you've already established an account with Acuity, we're just going to log into the account. So I'm going to hit the login, and that will take me directly to our calendar. So I just wanted to show a couple of basic things that will make it really easy for you when it comes to interview day, but just so you can see basically how the calendar works. The first thing that you'll notice is that it does have some different colors on here. These are all of my appointments that we've scheduled. These are also other appointments that I have scheduled, but not through Acuity, rather than instead it was through Google. So I was able to use my Google Calendar. I've integrated that with my Acuity schedule so that we don't have any conflicts on the appointments. So let's just look at the appointments for a moment. We're on the appointment scheduler mode right now. From this, we can do a number of different things. We can schedule appointments directly. We can block days off of our schedule. We can set up the parameters for the schedule as well. But this is just basic general view of our calendar. All right, so let's just take a look in particular at one specific appointment that we have set up. Now, the nice thing about it is I've done a lot of stuff already ahead of time with this that will allow us to set up a question and answer sheet for our interview subject, and I'll show you how to do that on other videos, but just so you have a quick overview of some of the features that Acuity has. If I click on this one particular appointment with Frances, because I've had Frances already fill out the Q&A that was sent to her through the through my scheduling program, or through the emails that we've shared, she has already filled out a lot of this information that I need. Again, I'll show you in another video where to go over here in the business settings to actually set up the Q&A, and I'll quickly brush upon that now. But just so you can see, this is all the information that I'm getting from her. I have email address, phone number, her time zone, my time zone, any notes that I'm going to actually keep about this client, and then my Q&A, all of the answers that she's given on the Q&A that I've set up: name, email, phone number, what do your friends call you, some things that I use as as a way to get them into the sales funnel, and that we'll talk about that more as we talk about guest management. But this is a really good area to get some questions answered to determine whether this person that's going to be interviewed by you as a part of our guest management program would potentially be a good client for the services that you are providing as well. Also talks about how I originally found the client, her snail mail address so I can send her a thank you note if I decide that I want to do that, her email, her website, all of the information about her, any specifics that she'd want to talk about on the show, her bio, her headshot, so that I can use that if you're using a headshot as a part of the show art. All of this is taken care of through the Q&A. No longer do you need to, as we were when we first started our show, had to go back to them to request, can you send me your bio? Can you send me your headshot? Can you send me the answers to these 5 questions? Oftentimes I would not get all of that information from them, and before show day I had to track them down. This is all taken care of through Acuity, and it makes a lot of sense to use Acuity as your program. Also, just so you have a quick idea of what this is all about, it tells you through Acuity you can set up the parameters coming to the appointment levels. It can show you if you have podcast interviews that you're going to talk to them about, business that you're going to talk to them about outside of the podcast. You can send them requests for their schedule that way as well. And it gives you a whole bunch of options in terms of if I only want to do one interview a day, I can set up the parameters of how many I want to do in the course of the day. So for example, in this podcast interview, I want to set it up as just one a day. Intro calls, I'll have up to 2 a day. And any other types of calls that I may have, I can have a limit of 1, 2, 3 unlimited per day. This is where I set up the intake form which is the Q&A that I referred to. Very easy to customize these, just like it is on any form generations app that you might decide to use. And that, without getting into too many of the huge details, oh, here's a neat little feature. It will again, you can sync it with your Google Calendar. You can also integrate it with a MailChimp or QuickBooks if you're doing any type of payment collection through this, if you have any other type of appointments that you want to do. Email marketing that you can do. There's customer relationship management software that you can integrate with this. Very, very powerful tool to use to combine your appointments with people that are going to be added onto your list as well. And there's a bunch of email settings that you can go through. You can remind your appointments ahead of time, 72 hours, 48 hours, 24 hours before the call. You can text message through this as well, so that you can send them reminders. All of this is done through an automated system that you set up in the beginning. But again, I did not want to get into too many of the details right here, but just give you a broad brush stroke of what power that Acuity can have in helping you to keep your schedule straight, so that you're not emailing back and forth with your interview subjects or your potential customers or anybody else that you want to use through this scheduling program. If you only want to use it for your podcast, you don't have to go beyond that. I have seen so much power that Acuity has that I use it now to set up a number of different appointments. It's very easy just to fire off a link to a person that is interested in setting up an appointment, rather than having the back and forth exchange 5 or 6 times to set up an appointment. Hopefully that will help with just a broad brushstroke overview of what Acuity is all about.